Good evening, everybody. My name is Rosalba La Grotteria, and with Giuseppe Pace, we prepared two cases about local social initiatives during pandemic times. The cases are Italian cases. We compared them in order to see how governance changed due to the pandemic. What is the starting point? Well, a common thought that is every disaster, natural or anthropic, brings always to additional exclusions. Exclusions that can be temporary or permanent, and then they can influence general history, or they can have a localized effect depending on the measures used to mitigate them. The corona pandemic created a new social exclusion and poverty. And the research questions we investigated about are which instruments and local initiatives did the public and third sector implement to fight them? And did they give birth to emerging social practices and new governance models? The two Italian contexts that we compared are Turin and Naples. Turin is in northern Italy and Naples is in southern Italy. These are two large cities, very different from the economic point of view and also the social composition, but they are similar in some aspects. We compared initiatives to support excluded and fragile population and increase local resilience during COVID, and stakeholders' involvement, target population and size, strategies, organizational principles, and type of leadership. The questions are there recurrent patterns of approaches and instruments, and did these initiatives meet target groups' needs? About Turin, well, in Turin, the city council, let's say that put in order and started a number of services. The services to respond to general needs, calls from toll-free numbers passed on to voluntary associations, psychological support offered also on the basis of phone desk, and then services for helping the elderly, people with disabilities, services for facing food emergency. And one of the experiences I present concern this area. Donations. Turin City Law free resources for citizens, schools, and businesses. These are some instruments and tools which have been put at disposal of citizens, schools, and businesses during pandemic. And then the bank foundations, which usually are already very active, but during pandemic, really they helped a lot the communities, giving a lot of contributions in different ways, funding services, helping, being in partnership with the city council and with other local administrations so as to really mitigate the very bad effects of pandemic on the social aspect. I'm talking about the Terza Settimana experience, third week experience. What is it about? It's a voluntary organization which was born in 2011 after the economic crisis of 2008. The name is from USA and evokes a time when families were no longer able to reach the third week of the month. So after the third week, they were really in difficulty. We interviewed Bruno Ferragato, who is the founder, and he talked to us about the first national model of social market, which was born in 2013. And it's a collective purchasing group, and then it's transformed into replicable software throughout Italy. There are already other regions which use it. What are some numbers of Terza Settimana? 67 volunteers work for it. They work 48 weeks a year, so almost all the year. It has enrolled 12,000 families and pays out over 10,000 expenses a year. What does the initiative consist of? Well, people access the third week contact service by shopping online, and so they do not have to go to the social markets because we have these social markets in every quarter in a department of the city, where people can go and find and get their food for free. This, let's say, it's less embarrassing than receiving at home the package with the food, which is the usual food emergency instrument used. But during the pandemic, it was not possible, in order to respect the COVID restrictions, to go to the market. So this service was completely digitalized. The main results of this organization, which was born before the COVID, but during the pandemic really changed and transformed its model, going more digital. Third week model annually reach about 1,300 households. Beneficiaries reach about 5,000 units, of which 30% are under the age of 18. So we have a change from the model based on contact in presence of people to use digital systems, also for food, also in this case. A slogan for the future, which Bruno gave to us, is that we must move from the virus pandemic to the cohesion pandemic. The other experience we're talking about is the Gruppo Bele. Gruppo Bele is an NGO founded in Turin in 1965 with the purpose to share and find solutions to problems and issues of social exclusions. This project, Genitori and Figli, so parents and children, families in area of intervention to Italy immigrants families with language courses, childcare and support groups. And during the COVID emergency, food distribution and digital device were given to the most fragile families in order to face the pandemic. We interviewed Lucia Bianco, responsible of the project, and she said that COVID emergency social problems concern families without networks, families with precarious jobs, with small houses. These families suddenly lost their incomes coming from the shadow economy, and so they couldn't even get support from the local administrations because they were not registered as economic actors, and their children faced distance learning with no support. They did not have the device, they did not have the space for studying and staying all together in the same space at home. So Gruppo Bele really with this project tried to face these problems, helping the families with food, with device, with digital device. And Gruppo Bele mainly collaborates with the local association Eufemia in the Food Pride project, Network Torino Solidale, which is one of the initiatives carried out by the Turin City Council for providing food to needy families. 10,000 families are part of the network, and the Gruppo Bele collects and distributes food packages to 800 families. These always, we are speaking of the Corona emergency. The future challenge is to understand the evolution of this type of support. What project can the local community make in order to combat the new poverty and help these fragile groups? Because what Lucia said is, we cannot go on just providing some food, some packages of food. We have to systemize this help in order really to help these fragile people to face the new problems caused by the pandemic. Well, I leave the table to Giuseppe Pace with the case from Naples. Thank you for your attention.